It is true. There are some people who've written against that norm, right, to try to see if they can sort of erase or flatten the so-called protagonist. There are also some people who've worked really well with very unpleasant characters as their protagonists in an attempt to sort of create an interesting tension in the reader. But that's not the case with Riley. So let's talk about him a little bit. He's in San Francisco in the 70s. He's a cop who's been drummed out of the force, and he's running an extermination business. I'll use that phrase, although he and his team like to call themselves lots of other things, but they take care of pests and insects.
A good exterminator has a lot in common with a good assassin. You know your target, you understand it, you know its behavior, you know its time, you know its place, and you do your work by picking the right weapon at the right time and doing the least amount of damage to bystanders.
Well, and he's in San Francisco roughly the same time that Dirty Harry is in San Francisco in those seminal moments. Why do something set in the 1970s in crime fiction now, as opposed to, say, San Francisco in the aughts or the 2010s?
San Francisco was the city that my mother loved. I grew up in Albuquerque, and so we went to San Francisco probably 3 times when I was between the ages of, say, 10 and 18, right? And that was from the late 60s to the late 70s. So I was in San Francisco exactly when this book is taking place. And then I honeymooned in 1982.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I have my prop. Yeah. So here, as ridiculous as this is, right? So 1982, Nan and I are in San Francisco, right? And here's this, chalk street artist drawing of us. So that time is, that time is between where the book, the next one, which is about 80% done, is taking place in the very early 80s. I've got vivid memories, sort of these snapshot memories and whatnot. And a lot of noir mystery or noir-ish mystery is driven by an urban setting. And I wanted him to be an exterminator, right? Because you should write about something that you know about that. And so the idea of including pesticides and pests and the relationship we have to the pest. And there's one point where Riley compares himself as a former detective to an exterminator, right? And he says it's nothing personal, right? Some people are sociopaths and some insects are pests. My job is to take care of that.
That's what Riley has that no other detective has, right? He understands the world of insects and pests, and has the resources but also the knowledge to solve a particular kind of crime, as opposed to being a forensics, a bullet person or a fingerprint person or a profiler of serial killers, which is a famous sort of trope. For me, it really works. I was not in San Francisco in the 70s, but it's a city you can always romanticize sort of urbanscapes in the past, and that works nicely. You also get to play off that California dynamic of how the South is different from the North, how the culture in Berkeley is perhaps different from culture elsewhere in the Bay. And you're catching a lot of really interesting waves, not least among them the way we think about environment and poison, right? So to me, you get to play off a lot of the cop tropes, but you also get to sort of signal some changes in American culture. We see glimpses of gay culture. We see more than glimpses of feminism. We see glimpses of big changes in academic culture. And I don't want to get too far off, but I do think you use this Poison Justice as an occasion to operate in the field of academic satire, which I know must please you greatly, having been a professor for 30 plus years. And I'm wondering if Riley's going to stay away from campuses in the future or whether he's going to continue to visit them and look into their contradictions, and also the idea that mild-mannered professors could be tricky criminals, which I do like.